I want to tell y'all something before this world teaches you the wrong lesson. One day somebody may look at your hair and say, "Can I touch it?" Now, some folks mean no harm. Some are just curious because they didn't grow up around people who look like you. But before you answer, I want you to understand why that question can sit heavy on a black person's spirit. Our hair has a history. Back during slavery, our people weren't given the right to say what happened to their own bodies. Men, women, and children were inspected like livestock. They looked at our teeth, our muscles, our skin, and yes, even our hair. They decided who would work in the house and who would work in the fields. They touched without permission because they believed ownership gave them that right. Then came those years when people from Africa and other lands were put on display in exhibitions, so crowds could stare at them like curiosities instead of human beings. Scientists with more degrees than sense measured noses, examined hair textures, and tried to rank God's children from most human to least human. They called it science. We call it what it was, racism dressed up in a lab coat. Our hair became something people judged, too kinky, too wild, too nappy, too much. Black women were told to straighten it if they wanted jobs. Children were sent home from school because of braids or locks. Afros were called unprofessional. The very thing people criticized was the same thing they later reached out to touch because it fascinated them. So understand this. When a stranger asks to touch your hair, they may think they're asking an innocent question, but for many of us it brushes up against generations of being treated like our bodies were public property. Now hear me carefully, babies. You don't have to be angry at everybody who asks. You don't have to assume bad intentions. Curiosity and disrespect aren't always the same thing, but you do have the right to decide what happens to your body. If somebody says, "Can I touch your hair?" and you don't want them to, look them in the eye and say, "No, thank you. I don't let people touch my hair." That's enough. You don't owe a speech. You don't owe an apology. You don't owe an explanation. And if they get offended, baby, don't carry that burden. A boundary is not an insult. Respect goes both ways. I know some of y'all worry about being called rude. Black children have long been taught to smile, be agreeable, and make other folks comfortable, even when we're uncomfortable ourselves. But I want you to learn the difference between kindness and surrender. Kindness says, "Thank you for asking." Surrender says, "I have to say yes so you won't think badly of me." Those are not the same thing. And don't you ever let this world make you ashamed of what grows naturally from your head. Our hair carried maps braided into cornrows. It was washed in kitchen sinks before church on Saturday nights. It sat under hot combs while women shared wisdom and laughter. It crowned activists marching for civil rights and children heading off to school. It has been wrapped, pressed, twisted, braided, locked, picked into afros, and kissed by grandmothers who knew they were touching something beautiful. Your hair tells a story of survival. So hold your head high. If you don't mind somebody touching your hair and you trust them, that's your choice. If you say no, that's your choice too. Just make sure it's your choice. Because after everything our ancestors endured to claim ownership over their own bodies and lives, one of the greatest freedoms you possess is the simple ability to say, "No, I'd rather not." I don't let people touch my hair. No, thank you. I know you're curious, but I prefer people not touch my hair. I appreciate you asking first, but I'd rather keep my hands-off policy. I'm happy to answer questions about my hairstyle, but I don't let people touch it. And know that those words don't make you mean, difficult, or unkind. They make you free.